With TSD Talks.
Hello and welcome everyone to episode 23 of the Pillar of Garbage podcast. Some rough news though, due to increased costs, sort of compute costs, like fuel, energy, all that stuff caused by recent international developments. You're actually all being billed $500 per minute listened, just because it's kind of raised our costs a little bit. So I just wanted to let you all know that up at the top.
Yeah, don't worry about putting in your payment information. We already have it. We've got that. Yeah,
we've had that for a while actually.
You know that weird charge you got a couple months ago for
it showed up as like 1 cent on your bank statement, but that was just us getting into the system. Really, that was
yeah. But it's a new system. We're thinking about licensing it out to this new patent we've got. We think we could just give it directly, and so like big corporations.
Yeah, and the great thing is it scales.
Yeah, exactly. You could just,
for instance, you're actually being billed $3,000 TSD. It says here co-hosting fee, so I don't know what that is. Yeah. But like that's how it's showing up for me.
And the hosting fee is even greater, I think. So you're
getting you billed. Don't want to hear about what I'm being billed for this.
Yeah. It's good though because it means that with all that money going towards the funds, we get to just like destroy more countries even more, and our budget goes down for this show. So
yeah, it kind of pays for itself.
Yeah,
that's how the economy works. TSD, what are you going to be selling to afford your brief appearance on this episode?
Well, I have gotten attached to my. Yeah, I was going to say I've gotten attached to my kidneys.
Kidney's always a classic.
Yeah. I was thinking I could also just I was going to sell some AI deepfakes of myself, but I can't do that anymore because they just took down Sora. So it's unfortunate.
I've just been filming my victory lap video about that this afternoon. In fact,
tell
I don't know when that'll
those,
be out. It might be out before this.
For those who don't know, tell us your history.
Basically, Sora. The nutshell version of this is there was this big deal announced a few months back between Disney and Sora, which is OpenAI's video platform. It's like TikTok, but it's AI. They never found a way to monetize it, and it cost them so much money to run. So like that was always gonna kind of crumple sooner or later, realistically. Not everyone realized this, though. Of course, I was one of the people when they announced this. I kind of made a video that was digging into this deal, and the title was "It Isn't What It Seems." Basically, I observed that the talk of investment and financing was all very vague, and it sort of looked a little bit circular, the same way the rest of this bubble does. I observed that what seemed to be the most important part of this whole thing was the way Disney kind of got to establish a new norm of like, haha, shit, the new norm. Let's go, chat.
Yeah.
Hey, if you're an AI company, you can't just infringe copyright. Like, by doing this deal with OpenAI, they kind of set the standard of this is how it's going to happen, and we'll fucking sue you if you go another way. So the cool thing about this is that norm has been set, and the rest of the deal, which I sort of called out at the time, I there is a line in that video where I'm like, oh yeah, and if we pretend Sora is still going to be around when this deal wraps up,
which guess what?
Blah 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 blah. Guess fucking what?
But yeah, it was always funny to me because like Sora, as it stood, was just like an exercise in burning money, basically, because it was like a tech demo for like I remember when Sora first came out, there was like 2 weeks where people were like, oh shit, I could do so much of it with Sora, and then you just never heard about it ever again. After
and even then, like. You could get some good. You could get. I didn't use it, but you could get like passable output for like memes and stuff from Sora. But even then, it isn't like you type in meme and then it spits it out 5 seconds later. You'd have to like prompt and reprompt and reprompt. One fun thing.
I was going to say the most notable use of Sora I ever saw was when when Adam Scott reposted a video of like, that like a memeified version of JD Vance where he's like got a big face and like a long hair. Just posted an AI video of that caricature of JD Vance like getting hit in the nuts a lot while doing skateboard. skateboarding, and I thought
it's kind of the artistic peak of Sora.
yeah. That was like, thank you, Mark Scout. You're really. I don't blame him for that because he's
TSD.
He's like 40, but
Can I pull up something you mentioned there? Just like as an aside, you said it was like an exercise in burning money, right? To my knowledge, you're not like an industry reporter, right?
Last I checked, no.
That's kind of crazy because can I read you a quote from someone who is an industry reporter? This is getting featured in the video I filmed today. He writes for The Hollywood Reporter, okay? And this is him on them taking down Sora. He says, where is it? The fuck is it gone? Where's my quote gone? TS? Oh, okay, here it is. He says, even if it's a cash-centric issue, I just don't understand how you spend so many billions building something and then ditch it before it could become a business and start to really spin off revenue. Something is not adding up.
Yeah, it's because it was all just for investors, right? It was just to be like, holy shit, look at this.
It's funny that as a non-reporter, you can observe that like there was no part of it that made money or could make money. Could make money.
Especially since they ruled that stuff that was made with AI is not copyrighted. Like it's in the public domain automatically, pretty much.
Even if it were copyrighted, though, like it's just the fundamental thing with Sora that you know as a layperson and I know as a layperson, which is that this stuff is just orders of magnitude more expensive to produce than anyone would pay for it.
And it's just noise. It's like the content equivalent of noise because it's
like the app version of this podcast.
Yeah, exactly. We are just like Sora AI. But it's just like, because the thing is, I never scrolled Sora myself, but I saw some people scroll it, and I saw some of like the output that was on there when it was at the peak of its user base, by the way, and it was just nothing. Like it's like this. There's this quality to AI video where none of it is like real. It isn't based in context. It's basically the most amount of emotion you get out of any kind of like Sora scrolling thing is just like, oh, I guess that's kind of neat. It's like dolphins flying through rainbows or whatever.
It's that thing in this other context. Okay, yeah.
It's just it. So like when they have to like run a small country's worth of energy to keep the servers running, like. That's neat isn't enough to keep that going for even like a year. Clearly.
You've just been promoted to the C-suite of OpenAI because
yeah.
clearly no one there.
Get me in a room with Sam Altman. And let me tell you, things will go down. You know, one of us would leave. Do you see that Luca Guadagnino is making a movie about Sam Altman with it's like
I don't know who Luke Guadagnino is.
He's the guy. He's the Challengers guy. And he's he's making a social network style video.
Wasn't Challengers by the guy who does like Potion Seller on YouTube, or is that a different guy?
No, that was the screenwriter.
Potion Seller.
That was the screenwriter. Yeah.
Okay, so we just got two goats teaming up on this thing. I never watched Challengers.
Challengers was good, but it was directed really well, and Luca Guadagnino is a really good director. He also did Call Me by Your Name, the movie where Timothée Chalamet does fun things with a peach, and
nice.
He's making like a social network style movie. I don't want to keep saying.
Oh,
video.
I have heard about this. Yeah.
And Andrew Garfield is apparently going to be Sam Altman, which is more than Sam Altman deserves. Awesome. But you know.
Yeah. But hey, there's a lot going on in the kind of that slice of the world, Silicon Valley. Look a little bit further down, you got Hollywood, back up to Silicon Valley. That's where all the bloody social media is, right? That's where your Facebooks is, and your Twitters is, and all this and all that. So how's this for a PoGservation?
Wait, sorry. Hey, what was that? Pillar?
Yeah.
You said Twitter? I'm not familiar with Twitter. Do you mean X, the everything app?
Oh, I do mean X, the everything app. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what came over me there. It's just I was looking out the window, saw a bird, thought, hey, what noise does a bird make? Clearly, because what's Twitter even?
I don't know.
Twitter.
Only something made by a good idea. But you had a point you're getting to.
Things is changing in the world of social media. So today, as we record this, we've heard about, or maybe it was yesterday, fuck, I don't know. At some point recently, there was this big trial. And basically, it was about, the plaintiff is like, hey, social media, being on it kind of ruin my life, give me mental disorders and stuff, blah, 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 blah. You know, the kind of thing we all know happens because, you know, that's what social media does. And it was kind of widely expected that this would go nowhere. But I think TikTok and Snapchat settled. Facebook and Meta and Google, I think, fought it. Like, they spent tons of money on fighting this, but they lost. So it's quite unclear so far what the ramifications are going to be. But, like, the thing I've seen spoken about is it might be there's some sort of precedent weighing against, like, retention-based social media engineering. Like, there might be a kind of legal injunction against developing platforms around keeping people on no matter what. And if that does happen, like, holy shit, you know?
Yeah,
that's like the end of the internet as we know it.
I would say, okay, so I'm going to have, like, this is going to be a very touchy take to have, especially since we're doing this. I don't think that this is necessarily going to be a bad thing.
I think it's going to be the more this changes, the better it is, right?
Yeah. I think that this isn't like Section 230 or anything being repealed, which was a fear for a while. Like, Section 230 essentially just said that, like, social media platforms are responsible for everything their users ever post ever, and, like, that's, you know, like, that's not a great precedent to set. But that's not what we're talking about here. What we're talking about here is, like, the very nature of social media algorithms with how devoted they are to being super, super addictive and super, super, like, rage baiting, whatever. Like, this could, like if it's done right, this could, like, reform the internet into something way, way better than it is currently. Like,
yeah, I'm keeping my expectations low,
right,
just because these companies still have all of the money in the world and they're going to appeal it and blah, blah, blah. But, like, the curious thing is, as you know, looking at this from my perspective, someone who has literally no career or anything resembling a career outside of YouTube, like, this is simultaneously potentially a threat to, like, my ability to earn money, but also, like, at the same time, if it does come to pass that it changes YouTube in such a way that, you know, doing the sort of thing I do gets, you know, less easy to monetize or whatever, that's also, like, just like a huge win for society, right?
Yeah, that's right. Like, I lose,
it's a funny
but the world wins, kind of a thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's you know, it's It's a very interesting case because, like you said, it could just go absolutely nowhere. But the fact that people assumed it was already just going to go nowhere no matter what, now there's a chance that it might not, is interesting.
Did you hear Google's response to this, by the way?
I did not. I've only heard bits
classic.
And pieces of this.
Great stuff. So basically their response to the ruling being that social media, you know, hey, it kind of destroys people's brains, it's not good, blah, 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 blah. Their response was basically, okay, but YouTube isn't a social media. Technically, it's not a social media, you know? It's like a, you know, content delivery thing. It's not a social media. And it's like, that is the, you know, the most malicious point missing in the history of probably the last week at Google.
It would be cool if this like just destroyed Facebook entirely, though, because I think Facebook as a company is just one of those ones.
It's a fucking shell of itself these days.
It just needs to like be put out of its misery.
Needs to keel over, yeah.
Like,
but like,
it like
if
lost
it does
its
ripple over
soul
onto YouTube,
and you know. But yeah. If it posts,
you can sort of imagine Facebook and Instagram and stuff like without the retention stuff. They kind of return to what they like were when they were good. Like, it's just you and your friends.
Yeah,
posting pictures and stuff, you know, make an event. Hey, let's go to this event.
It's
blah,
crazy
blah, blah.
how there's two
PoG,
pieces of news this
Farmville.
week that could save Instagram Reels.
Yes, Instagram Reels, my beloved. But then the other side of this is like, if you take the algorithmic retention stuff out of Facebook or Instagram, etc., then like those are still recognizable to a degree. What would YouTube be without the algorithm?
I think it would be interesting because it probably would just be like a different algorithm, right? Like because it has to have some form of like, there has to be some form of like cycling through random things. Because like if there's no algorithm to show you anything, then like it's literally just search based, which I get.
It's sort of impossible to imagine. Yeah, I think it's kind of started out without like a recommendations algorithm in the way that we would now understand it. But it's like it's fucking YouTube realism, right? It's easier to imagine the end of YouTube than it is to imagine the end of algorithmic retention algorithms. I think.
It's like that.
What was it that said that? Frederick Jameson.
Frederick Jameson, yeah, because in this metaphor, YouTube is the system of capitalism, which
Well,
maybe
exactly. Barely a metaphor.
barely a metaphor, but it is interesting because if it does end up like YouTube basically going away as is, that would kind of suck. I feel like, but I've also I don't know if
less white nationalist radicalization.
That's true, but I think that
it would suck for sure. It would suck.
It would any kind of big change like this would suck. Also, I don't think this is like what's going to happen. But
no, I don't either.
It's an interesting thought experiment because for me, I guess you'd probably still keep your subscriptions, right? So
yeah, I think so.
You would probably still have your subscriptions feed, and you would I guess that would be your homepage. Would that be your homepage now?
I guess just spitballing. Maybe your subscriptions would be a homepage, or maybe they would just swap it out for some basic thing of channels, viewers of channels you watch also watch recently uploaded videos, and then you basically get a fresh feed of that as well. That seems like a good way of populating a homepage.
The fact that YouTube already has a user base in the billions that already have their own tastes, I feel like would make this very different from if this was a brand new social media that was starting from the ground up with no
and that's kind of
algorithm.
why they can't start from the ground up. There have been wannabe YouTube competitors, and you either go the Nebula route where you kind of bring in a cadre of people who bring their audiences with them, and then you don't have to worry about recommendations so much, or the other ones besides that have kind of all floundered because
there's Vimeo is still around,
spin the
but you have
YouTube
to
system up from nothing. You can't. Yeah, Vimeo's fucked up. Vimeo's all sorts of fucked up. It's its own thing. It's going in on AI and everything.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, we should kill Vimeo.
just go into the server rooms with an axe or something.
Yeah. Well, it's the corporate personalization law system or whatever it is, where they're treated legally as people. I think if that's the case, and you find, the CEO or something, and then you kill them legally, they should have to dissolve the company in Roblox after Minecraft, allegedly.
In Minecraft and Roblox, in simulation games, in Teardown.
Yeah, in Teardown. Yeah, I think we're covered now that we did the Teardown thing.
But it's interesting because I was thinking about the data center thing. This is only tangentially related, but it's just I keep thinking about, people or stuff about with this and with the fact that AI seems to the AI bubble seems to be bursting a little bit. The Sora thing was the big.
Some air is leaking out.
Yeah, there's a hole. It's not burst, but it's it's leaking. And it's also just the fact that there's so much...
The interesting thing is there are multiple pressure points coming at it at the moment. The PR hit from this is one thing, and then one other thing I note at the end of this video I'm working on is hey, wouldn't it be crazy if energy and components and shit were all getting a lot more expensive? And expected to stay a lot more expensive. Wouldn't that be crazy?
The RAM thing, people are fucking mad about the RAM thing. You got gamers mad at you, and gamers are a powerful force.
You fucked up, buddy. You got the gamers.
You got the gamers. But seriously, gamers have a lot of influence in the tech sphere, and what they're AI was kind of in a tentative spot of some people were on board with it and some people weren't. But the fact that it's causing these people to not be able to build their PCs more effectively or get new consoles or whatever, that's the worst kind of PR hit that you could get for this technology from this group of people.
Trump voter when egg still gets more expensive situation. Basically. Now I care about this thing.
But it's also just the fact when did you see that the DSL-5 thing get announced?
Oh, that looks like dog shit, yeah.
It does look like dog shit, but also it was almost unanimously negatively responded to the point where NVIDIA stopped talking about it a day later.
That's awesome.
Because, and the most common refrain I saw when that was announced was, "This is why RAM is more expensive, by the way." It's
yeah.
This,
holy shit, the gamers are doing class consciousness?
The gamers are doing class consciousness. The most oppressed group of all, gamers. But also,
can you imagine if the gamers get enlightened?
It's game
awesome. Over then. The game is joining the revolution on the side of revolution. It's fucking, it's done. It's done so.
But then it's also the the data center thing. Like people, they keep trying to build more data centers, and like they keep failing to build them because now people are so fucking against new data centers being built. Like it's a huge social issue.
Yeah,
and so,
like now that awareness is raised up, there's like grassroots organization like happening where they are trying to actually like get the permits and stuff to build them. And like 5 years ago, they could just get the permits because no one knew or cared.
Yeah.
But now that it's like a news story that like people are getting ill because of the sound from the data centers, which is like such a beautiful dystopian like intro text scroll news pop up.
The sound makes people sick.
Yeah. Oh, you're talking about the sound that makes you ill from the hell plant. Yeah, cool.
And
nice.
And the thing you said about like people being able to operate without like the public eye on them is kind of why, on a kind of weird level, I'm kind of happy Palantir is in the public consciousness a lot now, because Palantir has been around for like a decade and has been doing shit for like a decade, but now people know about it and people are talking about it, and which is like a nightmare for a company like Palantir. Guys, for those of you who don't know, Palantir is a Peter Thiel's evil ass company that's just focused on like
it's literally the fucking
everything.
Torment Nexus meme. You know the meme where it's like we built the Torment Nexus from the classic sci-fi book Don't Build the Torment Nexus.
And it's
Palantir
named,
is like
it's named after the
it's
thing
the
from
evil
Lord of the Rings.
like spycraft thing from Lord of the Rings that fucking Sauron uses. Like when you name your startup over like here's the thing, TSD. Saruman has the Palantir.
Yeah.
But like it's Sauron's Palantir, I believe.
I guess.
Correct me if I'm wrong.
I guess
he's like Saruman thinks, hey, I'm looking through this. This is I get power from this. I get to see what's happening throughout the land.
Wait.
But he's actually being taken for a fool because that lets Sauron spy into his domain.
You're saying Palantir, if the Palantir is iPhone, Saruman is iPhone user?
Saruman is maybe Android is like Gandalf. That would be so Reddit epic bacon.
Yeah, the big tech company, the other big tech company, and is evil, and this one is good though.
This one's good.
But I was thinking about that. That Super Bowl ad from 1984. That's like the 1984
the
Apple
thing.
Super. It's like it's still really funny to me how that is aged, because they've essentially ushered in their own version of the 1984 thing. This is brand new social commentary from TSD Talks. No one has ever made this observation before. But yeah.
Oh wait, so you're saying we should compare the novel 1984 to real? This is opening up a whole new world space inside my brain. Yeah, let's go.
Yeah, this is a new idea. But I think it has some legs. But yeah, there's a lot of tech news that like normally is like, tech news is normally just like a pit of despair.
Boring.
But like this week, it's actually not been that bad,
There have been bright sparks and interesting sparks, which is more than you can say too often.
Yeah. And those bright sparks, those are all you need to start a fire. Boom. Mic
and you
drop,
know who was set on fire?
Who was that?
Zach Braff.
That's true. In
BoJack Horseman. This is a callback to a conversation we had off air.
Yeah, that's true.
And a very clumsy segue into our next segment.
Oh yeah, we're doing a streaming
report. Let's go.
We're in streaming report, but streaming report has a very particular focus.
Isn't that stinger so calming?
It is.
I just feel at peace now. I feel like I'm in an alpine mountain valley.
I think I listened to that stream and I think like, wow, this is the music that they use in Bambi Meets Godzilla.
I haven't seen that, but hey, if they're using that kind of music, get me a ticket.
Bambi Meets Godzilla is like a hand-drawn animated short from like 1960, and it's just 5 seconds of Bambi while that music plays, and then Godzilla's foot comes from above and squashes Bambi to death, and that's how it ends.
Who wins?
Well,
okay.
I mean, the moral victory is Bambi's, I think, but
yeah.
But yeah, when we do the stream report here, while we're doing the stream report, we've got a particular topic. This is one that comes from me because I've noticed that there has been a lot of TV show revivals in the news recently. most recent, most obvious one, the new Scrubs revival. For me anyway, because that one's obvious to me because it's being advertised everywhere. It played an ad for it played like 3 million times during the Oscars. But also that's not the only big one. There's Daredevil Born Again, which of course is a continuation of Daredevil from like the series that ended in like 2016. Or 2019. I don't know which one it is.
Yeah, it started in 16. Well, no, it started in 15 and ended in 19, I think.
But yeah, there's a revival of
season 2 of that is premiering at the moment. There's also Buffy's been in the news. I think that fell through.
Yeah, that one fell through, but there's also a Firefly revival, which is like 10 years too late, I feel like. But, you know.
Oh, yeah, no one cares about that anymore. Like, they were talking about that on The Big Bang Theory 15 years ago. That's how you know it's cooked.
But but then, like, I'm sure it'll be fine. But there's also like
Firefly's chopped now.
There's a regular show revival coming. There's a Malcolm in the Middle revival happening like right now. There was a King of the Hill revival last year. I think it's just interesting to me. The interesting trend to me is because obviously there's like always a constant cycle of reboots and remakes and whatnot. But what's specifically about this trend is interesting to me is taking the same like continuity as these old shows that ended like 10, 15, 20 years ago and then continuing on from them, but having had that time pass in the meantime. Like, so the King of the Hill revival is an adult Bobby coming back to visit his like old parents. And like the Scrubs revival is like a current day Zach Braff and Donald Faison and like Sarah Chalk and all that. But now they're like established doctors and they're interning a new group of interns like from when they were in Scrubs, which it's interesting to me because I kind of like this idea more than like the straight revivals that they've been doing with a lot of these shows. I don't know why, but for some reason it's slightly more appealing.
I always think there's kind of something kind of sad about it. Like, you know, and feel free to disagree because this is probably a rare opinion to have. But like, there's always some degree of like what's the word? Like plot convenience is not the word I'm looking for, but like
plot convenience in real life.
That general. Yeah, but like there's sort of like there's a convenience to the idea that when you have a TV show, especially with like an ensemble cast, less so for like a solo character-driven thing, but like, oh, okay, so for like this long in all these people's lives, they just all hung out with each other and like they were just like their lives were each other, right? And say you do 6 years of that in Community, but then people graduate, you know? They're not, you know, a couple of years after Community, it's not just all these people hanging around with each other, you know? Annie's working for the fucking feds or whatever. Jeff's doing whatever. Jeff's still at Greendale. Everyone else is fucked off, and that's kind of like nice if you if you.
Oh, also the Community movie, which is kind of in the same vein as well.
Well, yeah, exactly. But like that works more because you sort of see that as like a one-off reunion, like a college reunion. But like if you're doing the thing where okay, for a chunk of all these characters' lives, they were like a unit, right? And then like that ended, but then 10, 15 years later, we reboot the show and it's like, oh, they're just all older, but like it's generally the same thing going on. Like that just kind of bums me out. You know, imagine flash forward to your future, like 15 years from now, and it's just like the same supporting cast, the same setting, you're doing the same general thing. Like, is that not a little bit bleak?
I
know I'm deeping this way too much, but it just feels a little bit sad.
I can see that, but I think where my point of contention is that a lot of these revivals are framed as reunions, like the Scrubs one. JD at the end of Scrubs, spoilers for Scrubs, but JD left the hospital at the end of Scrubs, and this is him coming back to the hospital, and so it's framed as like he's gone off and had his own like kind of adventures as a doctor, but he's not really satisfied with what he's doing because he's a concierge doctor now, which means he just goes and visits like rich white people, and he's kind of sick of doing that.
Rich white people are the worst.
I know, and so like Zach Braff, but he comes back to the hospital because he likes being around in the rough and tumble of it, and he's, you know, because I think that the thing about being a doctor is that like you don't really stop being a doctor when you grow older. You just continue being a doctor, or you stay being a nurse. You stay, so like you can theoretically just stay at the same hospital.
From what you're saying, Scrubs gets a pass from me. Like I get that as like That's okay. But it's like, it's in my feeling of uncomfortability is in the same vein as like, the wedding episode of a TV show. And it's like, oh, fucking Ross and Rachel get married on Friends or whatever. And the people at the ceremony are just like the friends. It's like, okay, what about all their families? That's a bad example. I haven't really watched Friends. I don't know if that happens. But like the Brooklyn Nine-Nine wedding episode, where's all their family? Where's their siblings? It's just the people from the office. And it's like, how it just, the kind of disconcerting like smallness of a world just bums me out sometimes.
It kind of pushes on the fourth wall a little bit for you. Like it stretches out against
kind of
you
like
uncomfortably.
Yeah, you either have to like confront yourself with, oh, this is just a TV show, and that's fine. But the alternative is, if you continue to kind of believe in the fiction of it, then it's just like a bit of a bummer.
I guess, but
that's my like entirely niche hot take that no one will agree with me with, and is very stupid to bring up at all.
I think that it's I guess for me it's just I like revivals like this in this vein because it kind of feels more like an exercise of like, well, let's check in and see what they're doing now rather than like we're rebooting it and redoing, because like I like this more than like the idea of like, say, if there was some kind of popular movie series that was dominated the 2000s and they decided to remake it into an HBO show with basically no changes,
yes, and just do the same thing all over again.
Except
nice.
the author might have had some controversial takes, let's say, and so the original cast decided not to come back, and so she decided to redo it. Theoretically, it could be anyone.
Small changes, including all the evil teachers are now probably trans. I guess that's probably going to be a plot point.
Yeah, I mean that's a completely random idea, though. It's like
who knows. Shit, do you know what the perfect example of my bugbear is? And probably the reason I have it.
Sure.
The Arrested Development revivals or continuations or like later seasons.
I never watched Arrested Development, so you're going to have to explain this to me.
Well, it's, the first seasons are good. The later ones aren't all dog shit. Like, let's be clear. They're not all dog shit, especially season 4. But it's just the thing of, Season 5 is like 15 years after it started, more or less. And it's just like the characters are all sort of doing the same thing. Even, the kids who are grown up, like they're still in the same cycles and patterns. And I know it's Arrested Development. That was the point from the start, that they were all kind of babies who are incapable of growing and changing. I know that's the point, but like it just kind of, when you press next season and okay, the little kid George Michael's got fucking wrinkles now, and like we're just doing the same thing. Like
he's been Scott Pilgrim.
It's just it feels a bit weary. Yeah.
George Michael is Michael Cera's character, right?
He's also a singer from the 1980s.
That's true. George Michael, he was a guy who was definitely straight.
He was the guy that never danced again because Guilty Feet had no rhythm. Yeah, and
that's a banger song,
was definitely
by the
straight,
way.
And he was just kind of chilling out in that bathroom.
For years, I kind of treated that song as a joke because the fucking sax solo was like a meme, but like the actual song is like really, really like emotionally like felt. Like it's not a very sexy song. It's like a very tragic song.
It's kind of vulnerable, yeah.
And George Michael.
I'm not a huge George Michael guy, but game respect game.
Like I haven't listened to a ton of George Michael songs, but every George Michael song I've listened to, I've loved. So, which is to say,
I'm not huge on "Wake Me Up Before You Go Go."
I guess that's fair. I love "Last Christmas" though. I know some people hate that song.
Last Christmas is a banger.
I love Last Christmas so much.
You're an evil cretin with no soul if you hate Last Christmas.
I get being annoyed by it in like the 80s and 90s when it played all the time. But like it doesn't play all the time now. It plays like it plays about the same as any other Christmas song around the holidays, which is to say I do kind of hate All I Want for Christmas Is You, which is a fine song, but I'm just annoyed by it.
I think it's all right. I don't mind it. I just like the festive spirit. Hey, if anyone is listening to this like 6 or 7 months later, kind of Christmas time, do yourself a favor, go on YouTube, type in Last Christmas Peace. There's a band called Peace from the UK. They have a really good cover of that song.
Of Last
Christmas?
Christmas?
It's like, hey, this is a... Yeah, and it's like, this is a song that you've heard a million times, but it's still a good song. And if you want to hear that kind of with a new perspective and just kind of jam out to it, that's the Pillar of Garbage official recommendation.
Yeah, it's just like a song you never get tired of, I feel like, for me at least, which is why it's kind of crazy it was played so much that some people did actually get tired of it. They tested that boundary, I guess. But anyway, yeah, the Arrested Development, from what I never watched Arrested Development properly, but I did watch that one Drew Gooden video where he compared it to Community, so
Yes.
I'm basically an expert. But it sounded like the
Everyone
issue,
has watched that video. It's got like 20 million views.
but it's like the comparison for me, it seems like Arrested Development
Yeah. That's why my favorite model for the kind of revival thing. I made a video defending Daredevil Born Again.
Yeah, I was going to say, you should talk about Daredevil a little bit.
But I think regardless of what we think of the execution of the first season, and regardless of the fact that the initial kind of pitch for it was a bit more separated, like recasting characters, killing characters off, stuff like that, I think where we landed with season 1 is a really nice medium, because like there is the connective tissue, but also like the pitch for this new show is like, hey, it's this guy you like, doing the thing you like, but like new environment, new kind of different strata of society we're kind of focusing on, new supporting cast, kind of new questions, a new scope. I think if you're going to do a show revival, like that's what I'm interested in as a viewer, I think, is like taking what a thing that worked, a character, a perspective, something, and like just kind of putting it in a new context. I think that's always better than trying to recapture something old, even when that is done well.
Yeah, it's like, I just think that because with Daredevil Born Again, it seemed like to me, if everyone is on board with wanting to do the show again because they love the characters, they love doing the roles, and like I guess they could also just love money or whatever, but it seems like, from what I can understand, it seems like Charlie Cox specifically is like really, really loves being Daredevil and really, really loves doing Matt Murdock stuff. So it seems like he's like, if he is on board to like just give it his all and do the role again, like go for it,
set something up for it.
Like,
yeah.
Not to be all like, people in Hollywood are people too, but like from like an acting perspective, a lot of the times people love doing the roles that they used to do because they had fun doing it. And so if they want to come back and do it, even if the thing doesn't end up being great, which I can't really speak to Daredevil Born Again because I didn't watch it, but if the people making it are having fun, then let's fucking go. I never watched Daredevil season 3.
So dropping some bombshells.
So I never watched Daredevil Born Again because I never finished
see how the audience
original
responds
show.
to that. Yeah,
I've heard Daredevil season 3 is the best season, so I know I'm missing out. But
that tends to be the opinion. I would personally put it about on a par with season 1. I think there are things it does better, but also like there is I think that elements of it you could compare unfavorably to season 1. I think it's like a really nice cheesecake and then like a really nice sticky toffee pudding. It's like, hey, these are both amazing. These are both 10s, but I'm not going to put one above the other.
And then season 2 is like a kind of like a pretty good like brownie, but like it's maybe been out for like a day or two. Maybe
it gets too much shit. It gets too much shit. Season 2, like everyone's like, oh, Punisher stuff's goated, but like the Elektra stuff's dog ass. It's not. It's not that bad. It's fine. It's not as bad as fucking Iron Fist was, or Jessica Jones season 2, which I have a irrational dislike for. Well, no, an entirely rational dislike.
I only watched the first season of Jessica Jones, so I was gonna do like a whole thing where I watched all of the Defenders shows, and then I like watched the first 2 seasons of Daredevil, and then watched the first season of Jessica Jones, and then I just got distracted. But it sounds like I got like some.
Honestly,
like,
that's probably the best experience to have with.
Yeah.
That's the way to do it.
But
I think
I will watch
something in here.
I will watch season 3 of Daredevil at some point, and then watch Born Again after that, because I am interested in Born Again from what I hear of it.
50% of my brain since you mentioned a regular show 10 minutes ago has been kind of whirring away in the background thinking, where did I see something about regular show recently? This is going to drive me insane if I can't remember it. And I figured it out. Would you like to know what it is?
Of course.
So I finally gave in to the sweet surrender, the kind of ego annihilation of downloading something you've got a targeted ad for recently, which is always a good feeling, good and bad. But I got one of those apps that it's like Tinder, but for deleting your old photos. Like you swipe one way to keep the photo and one way to delete the photo, and it's like a way of clearing up your gallery.
That actually does sound like a good.
It's really good.
I'm intrigued by
but it's predatorily priced. Like you get like a 3-day free trial, and then
that's always
it's like £7 a week. So I ended up paying for like I've paid for it for 1 week so far. I'm going to try and finish up my camera roll before the next week because then nobody needs to pay 14 quid to get rid of some photos. But I've found like a meme I downloaded like in 2021 or something and deleted. Yeah, I saw it when I was clearing out my photos through this app, and I found it in my recently deleted. Would you like to hear me? This is great. This is great podcasting, by the way. This is great for our listeners. Would you like to hear me describe this meme?
Yeah, I know. This is like the content people sign up for here, so I feel like you should go for it.
Panel 1. There are 3 panels. Panel 1 is like a kind of close-up. It's daytime. We've got like a sort of CG style, like not photorealistic, but kind of like DreamWorksy CG style of the 2 fucking guys from Regular Show. I never watched it. I don't know who they are. Mordecai and Rigby. That's who they are.
Yeah.
And they
you don't know which one's Mordecai, which one's Rigby, huh? Which one's Mordecai and which one's Rigby?
I don't fucking know. I guess if I was naming them, I would call the blue guy Mordecai because he looks like more of a Mordecai. I don't know if that's what it is. But they've got hoodies on, they got like a beanie, they got like a big gold chain, they're looking kind of cool, they're posing. And text over this is, they say life's a movie. And then panel 2 is a very similar sort of deal. They're still looking cool, still looking kind of like they've just walked off the street, like they're posing. About to drop a rap album, gonna be a number 1. It's now nighttime, so there's more of an atmosphere here. And then it says, but for me and bro. And then panel 3 is very similar, but now it's raining. Now they've got their hoods up and they're looking like indescribably cool. It's like next level. Like I'm failing to do it justice.
Sounds like the type of meme that would have been like painstakingly created in like 2019. It would have been painstakingly created in Photoshop, and in 2025 it would have been like made in like 2 seconds with like AI or some shit.
Yeah, it might be AI generated. It's I might have got the date wrong. Maybe it's from 2 years ago. Maybe it is AI generated. I don't know. But the final panel, dripped out Mordecai and Rigby. Nighttime. They've got like cups of something they're slurping. I don't know what it is. Caption: it's a regular show. So this is let me read the whole slogan out for you. They say life's a movie, but for me and bro, it's a regular show.
That does have an indescribable kind of power to it, I think.
It has an ineffable kind of something to it, yeah.
Yeah, so it's not a joke.
It's kind of wedged in my brain.
It's like not really a punchline or anything.
It's just facts. It's just like, you see that and you're like, yeah, real.
Yeah, man.
Damn. That's how it is sometimes.
You think that you...
And that concludes our latest news segment. Pillar of Garbage describes a meme for 5 minutes.
They say the podcast market is oversaturated with nonsense, and I think that obviously that doesn't apply to us. I think we're the cream of the crop for that.
We can do a Patreon exclusive podcast episode where I just go through my camera roll and I just describe. I've got some great stuff on there that I've recently deleted from like 5 years ago.
Yeah, but like
we'll save that for another time.
Streaming, we should probably like wrap up this like streaming thing, quote unquote. I don't know. I just think revivals are interesting. I think that they're more interesting conceptually to me than a straight up reboot is, I guess, where I'm at with that. Because like there's more variety to them, but also there's like more uniformity to them. They're like,
it depends on what way you do it, right? Like, I'm kind of coming at this from a cross angle because like the relationship UK TV has to the kind of reboot, revival, continuation kind of system is quite different, which is that it's a lot more common over here to just kind of do a run of episodes, like even if it's like maybe it's 2 episodes, maybe it's 3 episodes, maybe it's 4 episodes, maybe it's 6 episodes. It's not going to be 26 generally.
Yeah.
And then like maybe you do the same next year, but like because it's like less of, I think in our TV industry, it's less of like a norm to like do seasons in the American way where like, oh, okay, we're doing a season. That's my healthcare for this year sorted out as like a SAG employee.
Well, we don't really do like that anymore. So, because it's
no, well, in the good old days of a couple of years ago. But like, I think it's more of like a casual, like, sort of coalition. Like, think back to like the Sherlock days for all of the Tumblr girlies listening to this. It's like they would always be saying like, oh yeah, maybe we'll do another season if everyone's free. And like, that's just kind of how it goes. So like, there are some TV shows that like they do a season, they do another season, and then like 5 years later, hey, we do another season. And that's not a revival or a reboot. It's just like a very sort of stoppy-starty journey for TV. And like, there's one example of when that kind of goes too far and gets a bit bad, maybe. Like, there's this very popular UK TV show called Line of Duty. Yeah.
I was going to say Sherlock again, but...
Well, yeah, I mean, that's also not a bad example in that there's always this tension of when you're doing like a serialized story of like, how do you kind of ramp it up each time and give closure if you don't know if it's going to be the last season or not. So Line of Duty is about like police corruption, and there's this anti-corruption task force, and it was really good originally, the whole ACAB thing, the one side. But like, it just kept jumping the shark, and then there'd be another season and it'd just like jump the shark again, and it's like, oh, the secret criminal mastermind is this guy. No, it's this guy. No, it's like a network of people. No, and then the place the last season ended on, it came out just after the kind of British public was kind of shocked by some corruption scandal or other. I think it was about Boris Johnson and his COVID parties. I don't fucking remember. But like, the note that ended on was kind of an interesting place to leave a series like this, because it was kind of like, maybe there doesn't need to be a criminal mastermind, because maybe the institutions are just that sort of weak that, like, organized crime and corruption kind of always rises up and coalesces. Maybe there is a one Bond villain guy in a chair stroking his fucking cat. But now they're saying, oh yeah, we'll probably do another season. So it's like, okay, great. so it probably was this guy after all.
I think that you underestimate the ability of American TV to just like be able to jump the shark even consistently, even when there is going to be more seasons. Like, there's have you seen, oh, hold on. There's this fucking amazing teaser there's a show called 911, which is like 911 dispatchers. It's basically another form of a cop show, but they're also like paramedics. Yeah,
it's like a procedural.
Like, it's one of those. Yeah. But
is this the teaser where like everything's just going fucking nuts?
Yes. Don't spoil it. It's the season 9 teaser promo is this shot as Alex, whatever his fucking name is, Alex. I want to say Alex Garland, but that's wrong. But this Alex Warren is his name. His song "Ordinary" plays in the background, which is a terrible fucking song, by the way. But he plays in the background as these guys just look up in horror as like meteors descend on the city, and it's like, how are you guys gonna handle this? You're the cops and you're the firefighters. Call for the fucking Avengers or some shit. Like, yeah. And it's I've never seen a single episode of this show, but the fact that this is how they're promoting it is so
I'm
fucking
checking
awesome.
it back out now. It looks so fucking AI generated.
It does look like AI generated.
It probably
too.
isn't, but some of these shots. Yeah, like, if you're listening to this and you don't know what we're talking about, Google this, because it's worth a watch. It's like a minute long. It's fucking nuts.
But I just love it so much because it encapsulates everything I kind of love and hate about American TV. Because this song, I hate this song, first of all. But like shitty pop songs in TV promos is a tradition as old as time itself, and it's just like, as they're playing as like this shitty green screen of all these. I'm sorry, I'm watching it now and I'm laughing.
It's good.
There's this one guy where like there's one shot where a guy, like a big like Terminator 1000 looking guy, is like, there's screaming sound effects in the background. There's no people around him, but there's screaming sound effects in the background. He says, "Everybody, take cover!" As he just like stands still and like turns his head. It's probably not AI generated, but it has the vibes.
Yeah, things can still just be bad.
Yeah, and the top comment on this is just someone says, "This is someone's mom's Avengers Endgame."
Huge.
But yeah, this is
shout out that mom.
For those of you guys listening, it's on YouTube. It's called 911 Season 9 Teaser Promo. You can also just Google 911 Meteor Trailer, which is what I Googled, and it was the top result, because they know. But what your original point, about stuff being able to just kind of like keep ramping up in jumping the sharkness. I think this is why I like it when revivals are like kind of in a weird spot where they're almost kind of a new show. To come back to the Scrubs example, Scrubs, I would be more annoyed with it. I watched the first like episode or so of the Scrubs reboot because I'm rewatching the show right now, so I didn't want to just like jump through all of the seasons. But I watched the first couple to get a sense for it for this episode, and it's like pretty solid. Like they managed to keep a lot of the spirit the same. But what the thing that they did that was interesting is that like they adapted some of the more modern stuff. There's like a joke about TikTok in there and whatnot, but like they also keep in where these people would be in their lives naturally as like a part of the story. Because, like, the whole show, Scrubs, was about JD, the main character of Scrubs. The whole thing was about him, like, growing into his own as a doctor and, like, being mentored by people and learning about stuff and, like, forming connections with his co-doctor people. And this one is him coming back to be a mentor to a new generation. Like, he's not just back and he's in the same role and they've rolled back his character arc and everything. Like, he's just coming back because he misses Secret Heart, the name of the hospital. He misses his friends who are there, but he also has a career opportunity to like be like a chief of medicine type guy. And like, of course, if you're a doctor, you would take the job as the chief of medicine if you had the opportunity. And so it's like it works in universe and it works out of universe. So like having this thing where it's just like you're not sure if it's a new show or if it's a new thing or whatnot, because it kind of keeps like the stakes keep kind of like jittering up and down and up and down. It can lead to some really weird situations. TV is interesting, is the moral of the story. I think that TV is really interesting. Right, how people handle it. Down.
TV is interesting.
Like
you know what else is interesting?
As an industry. Yeah. What's interesting, Pillar?
It's interesting when people talk about things and argue and it becomes a whole thing. Hey, why don't we walk down the stairs, get our big old rusty key from our pocket, put it in the door, and open up Discourse Dungeon.
Charcuterie is not leftist. The Petersonian fastest American. Coffee garden privilege. Velma. Welcome to Discourse Dungeon. You won't be leaving alive.
Have we ever used this stinger before? I don't think we've actually ever used this stinger before. You've had this stinger for like a year and a half.
Yeah, I can't remember. I thought we'd done it once.
We might have.
Maybe we haven't. Maybe this is the first Discourse. Oh, shit. I bet I know what it was. I bet it was in the lost episode.
You know what? It probably was in the lost episode.
It was probably in the lost episode, yeah.
There's so many things in the lost episode that you'll never hear. But yeah, Discourse Dungeon. Discourse Dungeon. We've probably played the stinger already. But it's just like, it's kind of like a localized version of Comment Corner, but it's not specifically just comments on our videos. It's just like
just what are people talking about? Why is it annoying us? Why is it stupid? Or maybe it's interesting,
And we don't do it every episode because there's always something going on. We only choose things that specifically bother us for one reason or another.
And we're picking up this because there was some conversation in the Pillar Grabbage Discord, and someone said, "Hey, Pillar Grabbage, you gonna make a video about this?" I said, "No, I haven't seen the thing, but it kind of relates to a video I made, and TSD's seen the thing, so we can kind of jam it up into a podcast segment."
Yeah.
So people are being weird about the fucking Hail Mary, Project Hail Mary, right?
Yeah, the movie Project Hail Mary. For those of you who don't know, it's a book based off of a book by Andy Weir, who also wrote the book The Martian. He also wrote a book called Artemis.
Spoiler alert. I learned today he's a Critical Drinker fan and went on Critical Drinker's live stream. So that's, for any of you who like The Martian and Project Hail Mary, that's just a bit of bad news to make your day worse.
Oh, that's really upsetting. Yeah. That's really upsetting for me.
It's not good.
Okay, but here's the thing about that, though. I think him appearing on Critical Drinker's podcast doesn't necessarily mean he's a fan of him, but...
I don't know. He said he was a fan.
Oh no. Oh,
no. You're trying to cope it away, but some things can't be coped. Some things you got to face.
Oh, that's really upsetting. Oh no.
Yeah.
Okay, but that aside, Andy Weir's that is strange to me because like his writing seems fairly progressive. Whatever, but he is a really good writer, but he also has like this thing where he he'll write like jokes. He'll be kind of jokey in his prose, and let me tell you, if a movie has jokes in it, that's Marvel.
That's Marvel. Yeah,
that's what I'm learning. That's Marvel, because you talked about this with you had the Marvelization video you talked about, the MCU-ification video.
Yeah, so I was talking about Stranger Things. I bring up the D&D movie a little bit. You could probably point to even like the Star Trek reboot, maybe. Just like there's so many things that get caught up in this big MCU-ification, Marvel-style discussion. And one distinction I think it's important to draw is, are we talking about the kind of superficial aspects and style of the MCU bleeding it over into other things, like I would argue we saw with Dungeons and Dragons, that movie? Like that's just like a good movie, but you can tell it's kind of inspired by the Marvel style or aesthetics or whatever of those movies. But it doesn't kind of detract from that movie. Like it's not like it's trying to be really serious and then it's flip-flop, and the whole thing is kind of that vibe. It's kind of like Guardians of the Galaxy sort of thing, where there's not really whiplash tonally because it's all playing it to that degree of silliness. So on the one hand, we have things taking kind of aesthetic inspiration from the MCU house style. And then on the other hand, like MCU-ification as a label to wrap up concerns about homogenization, about like kind of and slopification of media, second screeny, this, that, the other thing, things that just slip down, and kind of keep you, the viewer, in a state where you're not like fully in anything. You're not like experiencing a new like way of being, a new presentation, a new kind of way to imagine something. It's just kind of like churn for the churn pipe. So like it, not to say that's the only lens through which to look at discourse around MCU-ification, but like that as an example of like MCU-ification as wrapping up like a wider aesthetic or kind of even economic or political critique. So like style on the one hand, we could call the other one substance. And it just, the thing that chaps my ass is that people just kind of throw words around without even thinking about that distinction. And it sounds like that's a little bit of what's happening here.
Yeah, because like the thing with Project Hail Mary is that I watched Project Hail Mary. I really liked the book, and like Project Hail Mary does have comedy in it, but it's also not like the thing about the premise of Project Hail Mary is like fairly bleak, because it's about the world is dying, and the only way we can save the world from dying is to go do this like really 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 unlikely to succeed mission where we send someone else to another star system to try to figure out why
Project Hail Mary,
like
if you will.
A little bit of a Hail Mary, and
it's like what is this? We've got a Project Hail Mary.
I know, right? But it's a Lord and Miller thing. The movie is a Lord and Miller joint.
Yeah. So you pretty much know what you're getting from that,
right? And like there is jokes in it, but it never feels like it deflates the tension. Like there's never any kind of like I know bathos gets thrown around a lot, but like there's never really a moment like that. Like every joke is either adding to a moment or like adding, like, because like the actual emotional moments are never like punctured by a joke. I feel like the jokes are more.
You might do a bathos video.
You might, yeah, maybe.
So put a pin in that if you're curious what TSD is talking about. Put a pin in that. You might hear it from me.
Yeah, but it's annoying to me because I feel like Project Hail Mary is a movie that is really a really good one to come out in this current climate, because it's about like what is seemingly a hopeless scenario, people like banding together and figuring out a way to get through it, and like people coming across from completely different walks of life, in this case different planets. Slight spoiler alert, I guess, but there are aliens in Project Hail Mary.
There's an alien in the fucking trailer. We know, yeah, don't worry about that.
But like it's about like finding common ground and finding like a ability to like connect with each other and like be able to solve a problem together. And I don't know, it's really, people use the term hope core a lot, and I feel like it gets,
I think that they overuse it a lot of the time.
They do kind of overuse it, but like it is kind of that, but like in like a not,
yeah.
But I don't know, I just really liked it. I thought Project Hail Mary, it's also just like a really good movie. Like it's well shot and it's got an incredible score. I don't know. It's just, it annoys me that it got called like a Marvel thing, because like when I think of Marvel, one of the biggest issues I have with Marvel is like visual similarity.
Yeah.
And like kind of a flat kind of, people kind of call it the Netflix style now, but for a while it was called the Marvel style, like it kind of washed out colors and like the green screen and whatnot. They built a lot of physical sets for Project Hail Mary, which is wild because so much of it takes place in like deep space that you wouldn't think that they would build as many physical sets as they would. But they also, the color is really well, it's shot really well. There's not that really annoying thing that they do now where there's like a shallow depth of field and so you can only see the person. There's some of that on Earth, but like in most of the space shots, there's not a lot of that. I don't know. I just really was a big fan of it. And Pillar,
I was able to
Pillar. I'm looking up this. I'm assuming that you sourced from this Saltier Than Crate post about Andy Weir and Critical Drinker.
I think that's probably what I saw.
When I'm looking into it, people are saying that like he seems to have like also gone on a bunch of different like fandom podcasts in this for the tour, and he also went on the House of R podcast, which seems very different from Critical Drinker-esque kind of things. Like
all I'm saying is, I think there's a comment buried in there somewhere that says Andy Weir says he's a fan. Now, hey, did I fact check this?
Yeah.
No, did I fuck? But could be something there.
Yeah, I don't know.
I'm thinking.
I'm not gonna.
What it could be with this.
I'm not gonna be like a huge ass about this though. Like it's entirely possible he is a fan, and I'm just coping. But
yeah. Hey, who knows? Not us. We're not watching the Critical Drinker stream to find out.
Yeah.
What I get from this, though...
He's still a good author no matter what,
is a little bit of Boss Baby vibes. Yeah. You can be a good author and like a bad YouTuber, but it's like... there is like increasingly these days, there's a generation of movie watchers who have, the big thing that they've probably gone to see more than anything else at the cinema is Marvel movies or like DC movies or similar things caught up in that kind of aesthetic bubble. So like... they just like, oh, this thing that is kind of funny in like a kind of vaguely similar way. Hey, getting a lot of Boss Baby vibes from this,
Like, okay, so this is gonna be, I'm gonna be slightly calling out a YouTuber that I know people like, and I'm not saying, dislike or whatever for this take that I'm about to mention, but I personally was annoyed by. There's a YouTuber called Like Stories of Old. Who if you guys who know, people might know from like a video that they made like a while ago that was like I can't remember.
Yeah, he's got one of these MCU-ification type videos,
yeah.
like the Marvelization of cinema or something.
And
like
it was
that.
like the thumbnail is like Lord of the Rings with like our Aragorn from the original movies versus Rings of Power, and it's like cinema versus content, etc. I didn't really love that video. I don't think it's bad necessarily, but it's just, it kind of felt like, okay, I guess this is an issue, but
yeah, like I think that video, one of the things, that was a video I watched because I hadn't seen that. It was always in my recommendeds. I watched that before I made my video, and one thing I took from my perspective on that video that I tried to bring forward into my video was like, I want this to be kind of focused. Like I want to be talking about one thing the whole time. I think that video, there are some good observations in it and it's very well presented, but it kind of feels a little bit like
old thing
based in parts.
Kind of feels old thing good, new thing bad a little bit, which is, it has a valid point to make, but it's also when that's the kind of impression you're giving off, that's kind of something that turns me off a little bit.
Worth saying, Like Stories of Old, I have not seen tons of his stuff, but like generally the stuff I have seen is very good.
I'm not saying anything bad about like his content or anything. Just didn't really love that video.
Yeah.
But also specifically,
I really like the video he made more recently about like, I think it's something like, why did old movies look more real or something.
With like this
slightly clickbaity title thumbnail with the kind of old thing good maybe, but like he backs it up in that video.
Yeah,
in a way that maybe I don't feel was totally the case in the Marvel video to the same degree, maybe like 100% versus like 70%, but he backs it up, and that video is great. So go and watch that video if you don't know who we're talking about.
Yeah, and I'm gonna say that I agree with you with everything you're saying before I say what I'm about to say, because I'm about to make fun of him for a take that I saw that he had.
Okay.
He has a second channel called like Stories Untold, which is like more like vibes based and like kind of low effort, quote unquote low effort. It's like less scripted or whatever. And he posted a Project Hail Mary review where he calls Project Hail Mary the Marvelization of Interstellar. Okay, man. Let's not pretend like Interstellar is like some high form of cinema.
It's not exactly Kubrick.
It's not.
I love Interstellar. I think
Interstellar
it's
is great.
But
I love
it's not
Interstellar.
2001. Interstellar's the MCU-ification. Interstellar's the Dark Knight-ification of 2001. How about that? 1 million views.
Interstellar is like, I enjoy Interstellar a lot, but it's also like not exactly hard sci-fi. You know, the spoilers for Interstellar, but the solution is the power of love. Like,
yeah, and like that's not like cheap and wishy-washy.
Yeah.
Like that's the choice. That's the artistic choice the movie makes, is to kind of to set up like something that reads as hard sci-fi and then go into like the sort of
yeah. And it's not a choice
kind of
everyone loves,
spiritually like
but, like,
effective. I think I like it. I think it's good, but like I see the point you're making.
But it's just like it's
not exactly
like, it's just the thing is that I like Interstellar a lot, but it's just that Project Hail Mary and Interstellar are kind of cut from the same cloth, and to act like Project Hail Mary is like some kind of dilution of the formula because it has more jokes in it. I don't know, because like they have very similar tones. Well, I guess Interstellar is a little bit more bleak because there's like the scene of him like crying as he watches his daughter age or whatnot. But like it's also like a little bit more far-fetched. Like Project Hail Mary is going for a kind of different thing, where it's like it's a lighter tone, but there's like still some very real like, fuck, if I don't do this, like bad stuff is gonna happen, and like we have a very specific problem that we're trying to solve here that like has very specific parameters that we need to like fulfill to solve. And that is one thing I do like about Andy Weir's writing, is that he's very good at setting up like very specific problems and then walking through the steps to fix that problem that the point of view character comes up with.
Yeah, I'm going to withhold comments on this comparison and this video specifically because I haven't seen the film, so I just, you know, I don't want to wait in and make some sort of vibe based judgment, because that'd be clipped out of context and people would make fun of me, and then I'd feel sad.
Yeah, and I just,
but I'm just going to let you go off, you know.
Like, yeah, I'll take the heat on that. It's like, there's nothing against like Stories Untold or whatnot. I just think that that's a very silly like way to phrase your point. Like, you know, it's not like a point that is entirely without merit. Like Project Hail Mary does have a slightly lighter tone than Interstellar, but I don't think it's like a quality assessment thing. It's just different, you know?
Yeah, it's like, so is it like a case of using something like Marvelization to wrap up a point, which is basically, I personally don't like the tone variance in this movie. Like, it kind of gives a sheen of sort of, not objectivity, but like it kind of punches that
kind of ties it into hot button
aesthetic
topic
judgment up into something bigger. Yeah.
Which I think is kind of why that annoyed me, is because it didn't really feel like it was a criticism. It just felt like, this is kind of like this, if you really think about it. Which, like, I don't know. I feel like something, like, obviously it's like a vibes-based, like, first impressions review or whatnot. But, like, it was something that I felt like, oh, I'm going to be seeing people say this on, like, social media for the next 2 weeks or whatever. And that's why I get annoyed by it. But Project Hail Mary, I thought, it was, like, my most anticipated movie of the year up until this point. Just because I really loved the book. And I don't know. I think that people should check it out if it sounds at all interesting. It's the kind of movie where, like, Ryan Gosling in this gives, like, the performance of, like, a lifetime, I feel like. Because like, it's not, people underestimate just how hard it is to be able to, like, carry a movie where you're basically, like, interacting with yourself for the whole thing. Like, there's some like, you know, flashbacks to people where he's interacting with other actors and stuff, but like for the most part it's mostly Gosling and like the alien, who is, you know, not a human.
Gosling and a tennis ball,
you know. Yeah. And so like,
yeah,
he like fucking kills it, I feel like, in this. And it's the kind of movie where if Ryan Reynolds was playing the role instead of Ryan Gosling, I think I would hate this movie.
Yeah,
you know, like if they changed nothing about the script.
Two sides of a very Inside you, there are two wolves. I was able to very successfully bait one of my friends who was kind of recommending this movie in a group chat by replying to it with something like, no, I'm not going to watch that Ready Player One core Reddit slop. So if anyone listening has a friend who's talking a little bit too much about fucking Project Hail Mary, take that one, add it to your arsenal. See what you can do with that.
I knew you were joking. And
that raised your heckles, didn't it?
It's like, my cortisol spiked. I have a whole thing about Ready Player One.
Curious as the trap makers are.
I have a history with Ready Player One. Because it was my dad's favorite book for a long time. And I have a complicated relationship with my father. Not going to get into that here. But
kind of yeah.
I also just...
that is not what this podcast is. Yeah, we should do a spin-off podcast where we kind of get into our parental trauma issues.
But the book itself also I have gripes with, because everything that people say about like Glupshido, holy shit, it's the thing, like that is that book. That is the prose is basically just like, and then there was a player was dressed as R2D2, but he had like a Serenity logo, and he had and this R2D2 was fitted out with playing Metallica. And he was
That's awesome.
And he was driving a little DeLorean that had a license plate that said Ghostbusters on it. Like that's what the whole book is like.
It's a book for people who don't read or watch movies other than the movies they watched as a child.
Yeah. And if you're from the 1980s specifically,
that's fine. Get pissed off.
I don't know. But yeah, I do.
Seems like a natural resting point for Discourse Dungeon. Finish that thought.
No, yeah, I don't know. At the end point is that I like Project Hail Mary a lot, and there are valid criticisms of it. I have valid criticism. I have criticism of it. I think that it's paced kind of weirdly, but it's kind of the kind of growing pains that comes from adapting a 400-page book into a 2.5-hour movie.
Yeah.
And it's just like stuff that like they tried to do their best to fit as much from the book as they could into the movie, which I really appreciate as someone who liked all those parts of the book. But also sometimes it kind of comes out weirdly as like, well, that kind of, if you didn't know that was going to happen from reading the book, I can understand why someone would be like, I didn't understand why that happened.
Yeah. I was talking to my girlfriend earlier about the Harry Potter show, on a similar note, in that like, so the Harry Potter thing is like the same thing as the movies, except they're putting in bits of the book that didn't make it into the movies.
I cannot wait for them to address the slavery is okay. The slavery is okay.
Yes. But I just feel like, if you're watching the Harry Potter movies and you're thinking like, this is great, but I wish everything that was in the book happened here as well, then it's like, do you want to watch a movie or do you want to read the book again?
Yeah, that's kind of where I'm at with like
it's tricky.
It's also just like, and the show asked the question, what if you wanted to watch the movies again, but with worse lighting and everyone has Gen Z haircuts? And
knowing that the author is a piece of shit the whole time.
Exactly.
Good stuff.
My favorite part about that was, I don't want to talk about the Harry Potter show very much, but my favorite part is the how John Lithgow was like, he like almost had a backbone about it.
Yeah. Oh, my girlfriend was saying exactly this as well. She'd seen discussion about this. Is like, you can't get good boy points for saying, hey, I almost backed out.
Yeah.
Hey, I almost did. It's like, great, okay.
Like that's like,
that kind of makes it worse that there's an issue.
I have less respect for you than if you had just said nothing, kind of a thing.
Yeah.
We
are calling for an official against John Lithgow. Maybe cut that. Maybe bleep that out of the edit.
I'll just Jesus fucking Christ.
Yeah. Maybe just bleep like that last sentence.
All right. Do you want to do some comment corners?
Let's do a couple of questions.
Not yet. Questions, not comment corner. Comment corner is dead.
Yeah. Comment corner's in the fucking ground. That was the last pillar of garbage bleeped word.
Yeah, that's what you said. We were hiding the fact that we were hiding our crimes of comment corner.
Don't even worry about it. Yeah.
They attacked us first.
Oh my god. What is your favorite superhero? How long is a piece of string? Where do we go when we die? Why won't my son talk to me anymore? Questions.
First question from Buster, our good friend Buster. we have whatever happened to shame? That's a good question, Buster.
A good question. Yeah, good question. There was context for that, I feel.
Was
there context for that?
I don't actually think there was context.
Or is it just
for that.
like a general?
I think it was just a good question in general. Although it was you know what it was? It was right after someone in that channel was talking about the thing you said in the Stranger Things episode about Vecna doing mouth stuff with a sixth grader.
About Vecna and okay.
And
so whatever happened to shame?
Whatever happened to it's a good question.
Well, once you get past like the 40-minute mark of the Pillar of Garbage podcast, you kind of have to assume that no one's listening anymore. So you just let it out. There's no room for shame. There's no room for,
yeah, it's
morality.
After a certain point, you just can't like you can't worry about like the woke mind virus or whatever. You don't
worry about getting cancelled. You just got to be a little bit risque.
Exactly. And I think there should be less shame. I think we should have less shame.
Yes.
That will make the world a better place.
Everyone should just do whatever they fucking want with no regard for how other people will view it.
Especially in politics.
Yes. I think we're getting there. I do think we're getting there.
Oh. Okay. What's another one? Okay. How about this? This is like a kind of real question.
Kind of real questions are the sweet spot, I think.
From Not Quite Cool. Do you have any tropes that you fall in? Have you noticed any tropes that you fall into, like saying the same phrase or using the same structure in your videos? If so, do you lean into it or do you try to avoid it?
I totally have things that I delete and I rephrase because I see them come up a lot. I can't think of any from the top of my head. I'm on my laptop, so I don't have all of my scripts here. I'm just going to try and pull one up and scan through it real fucking quick. Let's see. Okay, my work in progress script for the video about Sydney Sweeney's jeans and the movie Gattaca, which maybe will never come out, maybe will come out soon.
I think that's like a thing that happened almost a year ago at this point, which is a million years in internet terms.
This video is going to take so long to put together because I've recently realized, hey, a good thing to talk about would also be this book I read recently, and there's like a 20-minute section on ancient Rome and poetry as well. So like it's by the time this is done, like it'll be long enough that it doesn't matter that it's not recent anymore. No, I don't think I've got any. I think I kind of edit as I write. I've probably taken most of them out here. I know that I say so a lot. I say so and I start sentences with the so, which you're not really supposed to do. So maybe that's one thing. There's a lot of so's.
Yeah. I kind of feel like I don't, when I'm writing a lot now, which is for my show King's Creek, my main worry is that I don't want my characters to sound like each other. So like, like because I like to think I have a distinct author's voice. And so I know there's going to be some similarity there no matter what. But I just wanted to make it to like be able to like kind of feel like I'm listening to different people talk about something, like when they're talking to each other. And sometimes that's variations of my own personality that I just like will heighten or lower in certain contexts. But other times it's like I try to completely channel some things I would never say. Or would say only under specific circumstances, and like that's kind of an interesting exercise because it makes me confront exactly what my patterns of behavior are and what my patterns of speech are, and I've noticed that I have a really fucking strange vocabulary, which I don't know if this is like me just being like a haha she's so crazy love her moment where I'm like actually this is a lot of people do this and I'm just overthink, but like
stealth compliment.
I'll just start saying things that are like something I say a lot in my current life is I'll just say like the lady doth protest too much, and like I'm not even necessarily quoting when I say that. I just start saying it as like a genuine response to someone like complaining about something a lot. I'll just say like she doth protest too much, and it's gotten to a point where it was a reference before, but it's kind of crossed the point into like vocabulary is just slightly Elizabethan England.
Okay.
And
I'm reading Henry V at the moment, so yeah, preaching to the choir a little bit. Preacheth doth to the choireth.
yeah, and that you just sounded exactly the same. Those two things said to me. This is just a glimpse into how Elizabethan my mind is becoming.
Yeah. You've met me a very Elizabethan time in my life. I think going back to this question for me, I think one thing I've noticed that I've always try and avoid when I notice it, but like it's kind of the natural tendency of how an essay often goes for me is like I'll try it. The conclusion scales up too big. I find myself, I feel almost a pressure to like make it matter. Like every video is kind of a huge deal. Like this is why it matters. Then you scale it up to like, huge questions of like, what's good or what's bad for the world. How do we do this? So if you've noticed me doing that in any videos, know that I'm trying to stop it and I'm trying to let it be okay for just a video to be about something. Basically, this is the last I'll say for this question. As a blanket response to the idea of tropes, like sentence structures or phrases or like structural things. If you notice it in a video, if you notice, hey, Pillar of Garbage does this a lot, know that I notice it too, and I'm trying to do it less.
And I notice it more than you.
Yes.
But yeah, I don't know. I think it's just like there's always like one of those things where like you're your own worst critic, and so you will always notice your own patterns more than you will like others. And I guess the answer to the question is that like sometimes we try to like lean away from it, but like if you're trying to play a character, if you're trying to lean into a character, that's when you lean into it. But generally we try to like kind of have more variance in our ways of speaking, which I don't know, I guess is linguistically interesting.
Yeah.
All right, I have one more here. We could do another one after it, depending on how long it takes us to answer this, because it could go either way. But this is like an old question. This is from this user isn't even in the server anymore, I don't think. But from a character who we're going to call Hayden. What's your favorite indie web show? That's an interesting parameter. Just an interesting question, because I remember when this question was first answered, you might have said something like, "I have an answer to this," but that was like
something's come to mind
ago.
Immediately.
It's like,
do you want to go first? Do you have an answer?
Yeah, I guess I kind of have an answer. This isn't necessarily a favorite, but it's something that's been on my mind a lot recently. And you're gonna have to bear with me on this, because I know that this particular show has something of a strange reputation. But I've been really interested in the Amazing Digital Circus recently, which some people listening to this just had like an instant reaction of like, oh, kind of, or like a kind of like response of like, oh, that's like that show that's on like all those like baby slop like Minecraft parody Roblox thing shows, like where they just like the kind of channels I'm talking about, where they like will take whatever is popular with kids and they'll just like make like a fucking like, I don't even know what they do now, like they do like AI slop whatever things, and it's
like the same family tree as Elsagate.
Yeah, it's like in that same kind of genre, but like the actual show itself is interesting to me because it's like kind of targeted at like teens and young adults rather than it targeted at like kids, and it has interesting things to say about like social dynamics and like digital ecosystems. I don't think it's like a perfect show or anything, but it's competently written, and it has a really interesting like mystery that's ramping up as it keeps going. And because like the premise, for those of you who don't know, is that these like a bunch of people get stuck in this like digital hellscape kind of thing that's where they're like stripped of their human names and bodies, and they're given names and bodies of like weird cartoon character versions of themselves, and like there's this AI, this like artificial like AM style AI that is like in control of the digital hellscape and like forces them to go on like strange little adventures, like cartoony adventures, and act like they're like in a digital like a TV show almost, you know, for his own amusement. And so it's kind of interesting because there's this interplay between like these are like real human people, but also they get kind of treated and pushed into these boxes of like a cartoon character. So there's kind of like the direct interplay of whether or not these real human like personalities conflict with this fucking grinning cartoon rabbit or this like living chess piece that
I think I saw a bit of this. I think I watched a bit of this when someone linked it in some Discord server. Because people are always talking about this show in various Discord servers. And I think I watched a bit of it, and I just kind of like, I just got nothing from it. Like I've not watched any more really. And it's like, it's one of those things. It's kind of like, it reminds me of Five Nights at Freddy's a little bit in that like, there are these people use sort of like deconstructions of like genre things as a way to like put in like a ton of subtext and like so much depth, and there's the viewers are all theory crafting and this and this and this. But for me, it's kind of like, where's the line between, you know, how interesting the text has to be to make the subtext worth engaging with?
And I think that's a fair like takeaway. I also think that the first episode is kind of the least interesting of any of the episodes, because it just kind of sets up the premise, and then like it doesn't really do a lot with like character interplay. The actual interesting stuff for me is like the characters playing off of each other and like having this back and forth, which is something that Five Nights at Freddy's does not have, because Five Nights at Freddy's doesn't really have like a written story. It's got
the bite of 87.
It's got the bite of 87, but it's just got like a bunch of lore in it, which I feel like is different from like a story. And I guess this is why I keep watching the show. There's like 8 episodes or something like that. And I keep watching it because I'm interested in seeing where these characters end up, but I don't engage. I'm not like obsessed with this show, or I'm not like digging into like the fucking theory crafting, whatever the fuck. I just like, whenever there's a new episode, I'll be like, oh, okay. And then I think about it for a little bit, and then I come back, and I think it's gotten pretty good. Like, it started out just fine. Like, I was like, okay, this could be interesting. But then it's like gotten really interesting recently, which I don't know. I'm not saying that people need to watch it based off my recommendation, but based off of this question, I guess that's my answer. I guess if we're also expanding to include stuff like review shows or interview shows, my answer would probably change. But if we're focused on like narrative shows, then that's probably my answer, I guess.
So what my mind jumped right to, and what I think it probably did when this question was asked, is I think it was on YouTube, a series called Agents of Cracked, like 10, 15 years ago.
Yeah.
And basically this was an early video production from the video side of cracked.com in its kind of late 2000s, early 2010s iteration, which I'm sure some listeners right now are like fist pumping the air, like, holy shit, yeah, someone's talking about Cracked, because like it was a big internet thing, and it was kind of, I think it was fairly formative for my sense of humor and what I was interested in, like as I was reading the articles and watching the videos as a teenager. It's like, you look back at it now, and the people that were writing articles for this version of cracked.com and making videos, it's kind of super impressive. Like the guy from Behind the Bastards did some stuff for Cracked. Someone now writes for American Dad. Someone else writes for the John Oliver show, I think. There's also I think Maggie May Fish, the YouTuber, was Cracked for a while, and like there's a lot more people that like have gone on to do something else notable on the internet. Like, so many of it's like SNL in the 70s, kind of like, it was this powerhouse,
like a breeding ground, kind of like
doing really interesting stuff. Yeah, exactly. And there was this series they did called Agents of Cracked, and it was kind of loosely narrative in focus. It spiraled, got more and more kind of nuts, and it started out like kind of a sort of silly, zany, skit-based dramatization of like kind of life as a cracked writer, right? Writing like
so it's
comedy
kind of like
on the internet.
30 Rock almost.
Yeah, but they were probably inspired by that. I don't know exactly the timelines, but like very soon it goes super off the rails, and it like there's this kind of neo-noir element to it, and it's like before long at all, one of the main characters is like some sort of god, and then it just goes like absolutely balls to the walls nuts, and it's like the story is not anything to write home about, but it's so fucking funny.
This sounds a lot like
I don't know
a lot like 30 Rock.
I don't know
meets
if it holds
like
up or not.
Meets like Nostalgia Critic era review sketch type stuff. Like
yeah, like for real, like imagine that, but imagine that, and that sounds kind of bad, but imagine that being really good.
Yeah,
and that's what it is. I think it's still on YouTube. If it's not, it'll definitely be somewhere on the internet. And yeah, I don't know if, I don't know how well this is held up, because like a lot of stuff from like that period of time, like you'll watch it now and it'll be like, oh yeah, this is great, this is great, this is great. And then there'll be a joke that it's like, oh, maybe I wouldn't make that joke these days. I don't know if that would be the case for this. It might be. So like, if you go and watch this from my recommendation, don't necessarily take that as me endorsing everything that it's done in it. I feel like I shouldn't have to say that, but I'm gonna.
They'll be like, they'll be like doing like a normal joke, and they'll be like, and that's why I don't like queer people or whatever. Yeah,
like I don't think it would be like that based on my like vibe recollection. I think it was always on the more progressive side of things, like all this stuff there. But maybe the boundaries of what you joke about and what you haven't have shifted in this space of time. So I'm just throwing that out as a disclaimer.
Yeah, maybe it's like
But yeah, shout out Agents of Cracked. Great stuff.
It kind of sounds like similar in a feel almost to like what I hear of Nirvana, the band, the show is, and like that just had like a movie, I think.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think it's interesting that we're kind of in the place now where we're seeing like the ripples of early 2000s like internet, media, I guess, like humor and writing and stuff. Like those people all have like industry jobs now.
It's bubbled through now. Yeah.
Markiplier made a fucking movie, and it was in theaters like last month.
And people are going to watch that movie, and then like in 5 years' time, there's going to be movies and shows coming out, and people are going to be like, "Hey, what inspired this?" And they're going to be like, "Oh, hey, that Iron Lung movie that Markiplier made." And then it just keeps going.
It's a good movie.
Going. Like a bacteria growing in a petri dish.
I saw 2 movies in theaters this year.
That's why they call it culture.
Both took place in space, and both were in like potentially post-apocalyptic scenarios. So,
oh shit, we watched different cuts of Hamnet.
I should clarify. Movies that came out this year. Movies that came out this year.
Oh shit! Did Hamnet come out last year?
Yeah, Hamnet was last. I mean, it wouldn't have qualified for this year's Oscars if it didn't come out.
I suppose that's true.
But
I think it only came in the. I think maybe it only had a wide cinema window in the UK at the start of January or something.
I mean, it was in theaters in America in January. I saw it in theaters.
Release date 9th of January 2026 UK. So I think it had like a limited release previously, perhaps.
Maybe. I think it came out in December of 2025. So like that's like December is like prime Oscar movie season, because that's like when all the that's like the closest you can get to the Oscar date without. That's
when you drop the Oscar bait movies.
Yeah,
it's like Oscar bait is that thing where it's like, oh, so this is just quality slop.
Yeah. You only like it because it's good.
Have you seen that post?
I love that.
Yeah, you only like it because it's good. Good stuff.
I love that one because even the guy from Fortune is like, what the fuck are you talking about?
Yeah.
This is just slop.
Clearly, they're just driving for Oscars. It's all a hoax. They just made the movie really good.
Yeah.
Because they know that the Academy likes good movies.
They made the movie really good, and they gave a bunch of good performances, and with great acting and great writing and great cinematography. Who do they think they're fooling?
Who do they think they're fooling? Yeah, can't get one past me, Hollywood.
You know what my favorite example of quality slop recently has been?
What?
I've been playing. The other day actually, I just finished up Expedition.
You're in your fucking Claire Obscure.
Yeah, I played Claire Obscure, and guess what? You know what that game is? Quality slop.
Good.
Yeah. Because it is good, and it's funny because like I remember like in December when it won all those game awards, a lot of people were kind of like,
yeah, you were fuming. You were like, fucking piece of shit quality slop game taking all the awards. I bet it's not even that good.
I was like, that's kind of a joke, but it's also not that much of an exaggeration of what I was actually feeling. It was like,
yeah,
I was like, this is probably like good, but like, is it that good? And then I cut to now when I have like 50 hours in the game. Like, oh, it actually is that good. Damn.
Ratatouille critic flashback moment.
Yeah. In many ways, the work of a critic is easy. I had that monologue playing in the back of my head as I was like watching the credits roll.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it actually is really good. And I was able to enjoy it despite it running like shit.
TSD.
It ran like shit on my Steam Deck, so that's that.
You just said actually, Israel good?
Oh no! Oh no!
Zionist confirmed?
No! Wait!
And on that note,
this is really the note we're gonna end on. Fucking hate me.
Yeah, I'll give you all TSD's address to mail strongly worded letters of complaint to. Oh dear. Wait, yours did or mine? Oh boy. Okay, TSD's mic's gone down. I know this is going to sound like we're doing a bit. Like TSD, I stitched him up, made him sound like he was endorsing a bad position and then he's been assassinated or some shit like that. But no, his mic's actually gone. So, if he doesn't... Yeah. Okay, so TSD kicked his mic cable out, and because Audacity is like kind of silly sometimes, that basically means the audio source is gone. So like this is probably this feels like the universe's way of saying, why don't you wrap up, you know? So why don't I read us out? Hey, you've been such a great podcast audience listenership today. We've loved having you here. You will want to check your bank balance and just confirm the charges, because you will all find yourself considerably less well off. Actually, maybe that's where TSD's mic's gone. Maybe it's been repossessed. Oh, I think they're at my door now. They're banging. They're trying to get in. This is the end for all of us. Forfeits. TSD says goodbye. You can find me on YouTube, but you already know that. You can find TSD on YouTube, but he doesn't really do videos so much at the moment. You can find him on Spotify. He's got his podcast, King's Creek. It's kind of spooky. It's in the woods. Woo, there's a funny looking deer, maybe. We'll catch you next time. Stay breezy. Like we always say on the podcast, stay breezy. TSD says stay breezy.